All right, this is video number 3. We are going to go over some sidebar records. So we're going to look at spells first. First, I want to say if you find issues with the records, best thing to do is to go on the forums into the Shadowdark forum. Spoofer started, Kevin started a thread. Just post it in there, and it'll help him keep track, get everything updated. Putting in all this data that things happen. But we're committed to get them addressed. So I have 3 different types of spells here. I have a healing, a damage, and a focus type spell, or a non-healing and damage spell, I should say. So we have a couple of keys in here. This damage and this healing, it actually is going to alter the record. So like items, spells, depending on what you put in the type field, can change the record. You're making up your own spells. You can use any type that you want. Use any series of letters and numbers to describe your spells. But if you want to make a damage or healing spell, you have to use damage and you have to use healing. And so you can see that for this, you just put the dice string in there, how many dice you're going to roll, type of damage. And then for healing, there's a toggle here that says level, half level, or it's a nil. And that's going to let you cast spells that are as they're presented. There's only a few healing spells, but again, it allows you to kind of do your own thing if you want. The casting stat is pretty much just out of the book. The DC to cast is generally it's based upon 10 plus the tier. The reason we added this in here is because there are some instances. There's edge cases where the DC to cast is not 10 plus the tier, and that's mostly with NPC spells. So that allows you to customize that or make your own DC to cast, or when you're building your monsters out, you can use, it doesn't automatically pick one. You have to specify it. The other thing you might see is that that some of these rolls are opposed. And sometimes a roll may have a check involved in it, almost kind of like a save. I don't think she calls them saves though. So to do an opposed roll, you'll see that it's checked, and you'll see that there's a stat. Now, if it's versus the spellcasting check, which is what this whole monster is, all you're going to see is this right here. However, if I look at a new spell, you can see there is a block here that you can actually say set to 0 to use caster roll result. If you don't set it to 0, so if I lock the record, it's not there. But if I don't set it to 0, I set it to 14, it'll then show on the well. Okay, and the code knows which number to go pick. Okay, and that's going to be completely automated. Okay, I think that's about it for spells. You do have this tab that's the other tab where you can go and add an effect. And you do that by right-clicking, selecting the sword, and then you can put your effects in there. Okay? And then when you drag and drop this on your character sheet, again, it's going to show all of those things. And I went over that in my character sheet video. Okay, so let's look at items real quick. So if we're looking at items, like the spells, depending on what you put in the type field, is going to vary what you're showing, what's being shown on the item record. So let's look at, I'll pull a blank one up. Let's look at armor. Let's look at shield. Just look at leather. Okay, so here we have the type is armor, and then we fill in all the information. That's all there is to it. For shield, the type is shield, and we fill in the required information. Okay, pretty easy. When you add that to the character sheet, you have to go in then and equip that. And once you equip that, it's going to automatically adjust your AC. Okay, weapons, they're identified as type weapon. It has a damage. If there's versatile damage, you'll put that there. The type of damage, whether it's melee or ranged. The range, and then these buttons down here. If it's a thrown weapon, two-handed, finesse, whatever, they all can all affect how you roll that weapon. So that gets automated, so you can go ahead and put that in there. And then when the weapon is added to the character sheet, the weapon automatically equips. So it should immediately display on the front. So that's the difference between weapon and armor. One's going to equip, one's going to not. Maybe you loot weapons and I don't know. And so you have multiple, or loot armor and you have multiple armor sets, so you get to select which one you're going to do. And then I just showed you could put anything you want in this type value. So we have like adventuring gear, and we have all these different types just to keep so people can sort them out. Get off of this, go to all. Okay. And, when you make your own items, you can set whatever types you want. Okay. So that's pretty much it for items. I think that's it for sidebar records. Everything else is really just going to kind of work like the other rule sets. If you look at encounters, um, you'll notice there is no experience thing on here because experience is given differently in Shadowdark, and we also addressed it differently on the party sheet. It's a lot easier to assign experience. So anyways, that'll be a different video. Thanks for watching.